wow, like I'm shook. And I don't use that term often or lightly. I mean, I'm like stuck between being at a loss for words and needing to talk about this like now. What's up, beautiful people of the internet? I'm Joy Chikwekwe. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning into another video. As you can see, I am shook. And if you read the title, you know that that's because we are talking about Childish Gambino's This Is America. Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover. If you do not know what I'm talking about, go ahead and pause this video and get your life together by clicking the link that's in the description box so that you can watch this video. It's okay, I'll wait for you. Don't worry about it. I'll be here when you get back, but you need to see this video so that you can know what we're talking about. You will probably be shook, as I am. But that's okay, because I'm gonna be here for us to work it out together. So go ahead and watch the video and then we'll continue. If you've already seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. This video is crazy. Now, before we jump into it, can we just talk about the creative genius that exists within Donald Glover as a person? Like, what? Like, this makes no sense. This man is an actor. He is a director and a producer. He is a rapper. He is a singer, and he does everything that he does at a high level. I mean, people are out here struggling to do one thing at an okay level. Meanwhile, he's like excelling in everything that he does, and it's just crazy. And this video is only following suit with that. Let me just say this disclaimer. I really feel like I shouldn't have to, but you know, I'm just saying it for all my sensitive people out there. I will be using blanket statements. I will be describing America in general. I will be describing white people or black people in general. These are generalizations. I am very aware of the fact that this does not apply to every single individual out there, but you know, this is art that we're discussing and a message that was trying to be sent, and so I'm not gonna like, you know, spend the time trying to sugarcoat throughout the video by saying some this or some that. We all know that it doesn't apply to everybody, so if it doesn't apply to you, then I'm just not talking about you, and he's just not talking about you, but that's okay. No need to get offended, no need to come for me in the comments, although I do want to encourage debate. I do definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments, but just know that I'm not necessarily saying that everything that I'm saying applies to every single person of whatever race. The first thing that struck me about this music video is the fact that, like, it's a bop, you know, like before you really get into it, like your initial reaction is to start kind of like vibing to the guitar, you know, kind of enjoying it, and then he starts dancing, and you know, he's like dancing a little bit weird, but you're still kind of like vibing, you know, but it's almost like you can feel that something is coming, but you don't know exactly what it is, and for now you're just enjoying it. And that's kind of what was crazy about this to me is that that's immediately distracting, and that was like the whole point of what he's trying to do in this video. So you get distracted by the fact that the music sounds good, you're vibing and you're enjoying it, and you start to embrace it, right? And then a few seconds later, he literally like slaps that feeling in the face, and all of a sudden you're just struck by the fact that he shoots somebody. And now you realize that this experience is not what you thought it was about to be. Like, this music video, this song is not about to do for you what you thought it was going to do. And that happens to people of color in the United States all of the time. You start to embrace America, you start to embrace this idea of what it means to be an American, what it means to experience the American dream, and then you have some experience that slaps you in the face and lets you know that what you thought was going to happen here, what you thought this experience was going to do for you, how you thought this experience was going to treat you, is not what this is about to be. So backtracking a little bit, the video starts and this man walks in and he walks over to the chair, he picks up the guitar, he sits down and he starts playing. And if you pay attention, when we first see this man, he is clean, put together, you know, everything seems very normal. And then he sits down and he starts playing the guitar. Next time we see this man, when he's about to get shot, he has a dirty bag tied over his head so we can no longer see his face. His clothes are dirty. He looks like has been through something, like he has been fighting or, you know, been dragged through the mud in some way. And then he gets shot. And that was so crazy to me because I feel like that's another thing that people of color experience in the United States often as well. You know, you start off intact. You start off with all of your parts together. You start off whole and the way that you were supposed to be. And then he has an experience with America. And the next time we see him, he looks like he's been robbed of everything that made him who he is. And then after all of that, he gets shot. I mean, what experience does that sound like in American history? Slaves were brought to this country intact, whole. They had everything that they needed where they were. And then they were brought here and they were raped and they were beaten and they were forced into slavery. They had an encounter with America that totally changed them. And then after all of that, as if all of that wasn't enough, they still end up being killed. And I thought that was so crazy that that's exactly what happened with slavery. There's another reference that you guys have probably been seeing all over social media, but it's in reference to the pose that Donald Glover does as he is shooting the man. Please look at the pictures. This is not a reach. This is an intentional thing. Why else would he be in that position? He is clearly emulating one of the popular images of Jim Crow, as if to represent America. So this is where he's basically trying to explain to us what is happening in this video, who he's representing at this point in the video. And then right after that, the gun is handled with such care. The young boy who comes to collect the gun brings a towel and collects the gun in a towel and then wraps it up carefully before he leaves the scene. And so it's this obvious interpretation that you've probably been seeing all over social media of how a body can be handled so carelessly and yet guns are protected and fiercely protected at that. And I mean, I think we have enough more recent examples for us to know exactly the kind of things that he is trying to illuminate with this particular part of the video. The video continues. Childish Gambino is dancing, and then shortly after, a dance crew comes and joins him. So in the background, while they're dancing, we see people are running and looting and, you know, rioting. A lot of one thing that stuck out to me was that there are Black people who are running away from white people, which I thought was, you know, all part of the symbolism. And then I also thought that it was interesting that there were a lot of white people who were involved in the looting. And that was interesting to me because especially when protests come about, you know, Black Lives Matter, things of that nature, people always try to make it seem like looting is something that is unique to Black people in those situations. You know, they're destroying their own community, they're doing this and they're doing that. And that's when it happens because people are protesting. Meanwhile, after their favorite team loses a football game, it's perfectly normal for people of all races to go out and riot, and white people are often a part of that. So I loved the fact that, you know, both races were involved in the looting, and to me it even seemed like it was majority white people who were doing the like looting and destroying of the cars, and Black people were running away from the white people who were involved in all the chaos that was happening in the background. Of course, another very obvious reference that was included in the video was the Charleston shooting. If you're not familiar with that situation, I will leave the link down below so that you can read up on that a little bit more. Another obvious thing that I think a lot of people are pointing out on social media is the shots that are being taken at, you know, rap culture, and how it often focuses on things that are highly unimportant while there are very important things that are happening in the background or as the backdrop. You know, and I mean, unfortunately, that's just the truth. There are a lot of artists out there who have influence and who have the ability to, you know, say something important on their platforms and to be able to, you know, make music that means something. But instead they would prefer to make music that will make money. And, you know, it's not, I can't entirely blame them because, you know, we continue to purchase it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with, you know, music that is just fun, but I think there is something wrong when we ignore things that are important and that are impacting people's lives, and just choose to be distracted by music that is just fun, or by music that doesn't really mean anything and doesn't really make a difference in people's lives. And not only that, that. Not only music that is just fun, but music that can be destructive, that can even tear down the very people who it's being marketed to, the very people who are supposed to be able to connect to it the most. Like there's a lot in rap culture that is degrading to Black people, degrading to Black women, is not helping Black men to advance themselves at all, is not setting a good example for what it looks like to be a successful man in our society. It was just something that needed to be said. Another thing is the lyrics. Please read the lyrics. If you haven't read the lyrics, read them. I thought it was interesting that they kind of go back and forth between making these references to things that are important, things that are like sending a specific message, and things that almost seem like frivolous and like fluff. And I thought that was very interesting because that's often what happens in our society. We focus on the important things for a second, or the important things kind of peek their head out every now and then in popular culture, but then here we are getting distracted by all of these frivolous things once again. I thought it was also interesting that there are people who are recording on their phone while all the chaos and craziness is happening. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that their mouths are covered. Like they have something that's actually over their mouths. And to me, that was crazy because what it made me think of is the way that people's voices are silenced. And they feel like the only thing that they can do is to, try to record what's going on so that somebody can at least see. And I mean, how many situations have there been, even in the unarmed Black men or women who have been killed by police, and the only thing that somebody felt that they could do was to record it so that they could, try at least to let people know what was going on. And they felt like their choice had been taken away, that they had been silenced in that situation. And then at one point, there's a man rides by on a white horse with a black hood on his head. I'm not saying this is what he was trying to convey. I'm just saying it gave me KKK vibes. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But I don't know if that's what he was trying to say, but that's all I'm saying. And for those of you who think the KKK is ancient, please know that it is not. The KKK still exists in the world today. And actually, in a lot of southern states, their membership began rising when a certain president got into office. So please look it up and know your facts. And then of course there is the ending scene where he's running down this hallway and he's petrified because he's being chased. And the thing that I thought of was the fact that you can, like he was doing throughout the video, you can choose to be distracted if you want to, because it is a choice. Yes, there are distractions, but you choose to give in to them. If you want to, you can take the time to be aware of the important things that are going on and to try to do something about them. But throughout the video, he's choosing to be distracted, and yet this fear or this threat is finally catching up with him, and now he has no choice but to recognize it and to try to get away from it. And what was so crazy about that to me was that there are so many Black and brown people out there who are not paying attention to what is happening in our country, and who have negative opinions of people who look like them. They have self-hatred that runs deep within them that they might not even be aware of. They look in the mirror and they don't like what they see, and they might not even know that, and so they deflect those feelings onto other people who look like them. For Black men who dog Black women, or who don't date Black women, or who say that Black women are this and Black women are that. And like the same thing for light-skinned women who think negatively of dark-skinned women, or dark-skinned women who think negatively of light-skinned women. Whatever the case may be, there's so many people who are distracted from what is actually happening, and yet it can still catch up to you no matter who you are. And I think a really sad example of it, or the person who came to my mind, was Stephon Clark, who was it was controversial when he was killed by the police because he had said some really terrible and disgusting and derogatory things about Black women in the past. And so there were even those who felt like, they weren't going to march for him because he didn't stand for Black women when he was alive. So why would Black women now stand for him when he was dead? The point is that, the people who are doing this to Black and brown people, they're not going to look at you and see you as different from other Black people. You might think that you're different from other Black people. You might think that you're different from other minorities, but the people who are doing this to us, they don't look at you as any different. All they see is Black when they look at you. And so that can catch up to you no matter whether you embrace it or not. All in all, there was just so much to unpack in this video. I know that I missed stuff. So please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you got from the video. Let me know how it affected you. Even if you disagreed, even if you disagree with everything that I said, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to have that conversation. I'm just really glad that he made this video. I'm super proud of him. It came out on May 5th. That was on Saturday. And the video already has over 25 million views as of, Monday night. So it's only gonna go up from here. I'm super proud of him. Shout out to Donald Glover for this project. It was lit in every way, and I love the message that it was sending, obviously. So that's all I have to say. I think I said a lot. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I think that's everything. So until next time, live free, live woke. Know your stuff, do your research, pay attention to what's going on, and then do something about it if you can. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.